place pursuant to a subpoena previously issued to the witness, President Ford, in the case of the United States of America versus Lynette Alice Fromme, criminal action S-75-451 of the United States District Court for the Eastern District of California. Those who are present here at the hearing and officially here are, first of all, John Berga, who is the co-counsel for the defendant, Lynette Alice Fromme, Dwayne Keyes, the United States Attorney for the Eastern District of California, Richard Thornburg, who is the Assistant Attorney General of the United States Criminal Division, and Richard Fong, who is the official court reporter for my court in the Eastern District of California. Now, further, I want the record to reflect that I have been designated by the Inter-Circuit Committee of the United States Judicial Conference to sit in the United States District Court for the District of Columbia, and that the witness appears today pursuant to subpoena heretofore issued pursuant to a request of the defendant, Lynette Alice Fromme, and by order of this court previously issued, and by stipulation of co-counsel and his client, Ms. Fromme, and the United States Attorney, that this hearing may be conducted in this fashion in lieu of the witness appearing in person in Sacramento at the hearing of this case. Now, the court will rule today on all questions of relevancy of questions posed to the witness, as well as on all questions that may arise as a result of any answers that are offered or that might be given by the witness, to the same effect as if the witness were appearing in person at the trial of the matter. And further, it's I'm not sure whether we have a stipulation on this, but nevertheless it is understood that the witness is appearing at the present time as a witness for the defense, he having or they having requested the subpoena, and the subpoena being issued pursuant to their request. Further, I want the record to reflect that the testimony of the witness is being taken in Washington without objection from the defendant, and without objection that the defendant herself is not present at this hearing. It having been stated in open court in Sacramento that the witness would testify at this hearing in Washington, and that she would not be present, and that statement was made without any resulting objection from her. Further, let the record reflect that the attorney for the defendant and co-counsel for the defendant has represented to the court that all of the questions that he presently knows of that he is going to pose to the witness have been reviewed with his client and co-counsel Lynette Alice Fromme. Is that correct, Mr. Verga?
That is correct, Your Honor.
Very well. Well then, Mr. President, will you please stand? You promised that all of the testimony that you will give in this matter will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God. That's it. Thank you. All right, Mr. Verga, you may commence your question.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. President, I would like to direct your attention to Friday, September the 5th, 1975, in Sacramento, California. Where were you just prior to the incident in Capitol Park?
I had been in the Senator Hotel, which is on L Street, as I recollect, across from the state capitol. I was in the suite where I had stayed the previous night and had had a conference with several of my staff before leaving the hotel for the state capitol.
And what time did you leave the hotel
At
to go to the state capitol?
approximately 10 a.m. that morning.
As I understand, you crossed the street and you were proceeding along the walkway towards the state capitol. Is that correct?
That is correct. I left the hotel, walked across L Street and up a walkway from L Street to the entrance to the state capitol on my way to meet the governor.
And as you were walking, you were exchanging cordialities with the people and shaking their hands. Is that correct?
That is correct. As I went along the walkway, the crowd had been assembled on my left as I walked toward the Capitol, and they were held back by a rope. And as I walked toward the Capitol, I was shaking hands and speaking to people in this group on the left-hand side.
Where was Lynette Fromme when you first observed her, if you recall?
Approximately halfway between L Street and the state capitol, I noticed a person in the second or third row in a brightly colored dress who appeared to want to either shake hands or speak, or at least wanted to get closer to me. I stopped because I was gradually moving toward the state capitol, and that was my first impression of a person who had a dress on. I, of course, didn't know who it was.
All right.
Of that bright color, I should say.
Okay. The dress was what, either an orange or red, to the best of your recollection?
To the best of my recollection, it was bright, either orange or red. I couldn't describe it precisely.
When you first observed the woman who you've described, can you tell me what her demeanor was? And by that I mean, was she calm, nervous, or just in your own words, how would you describe her demeanor when you first observed her?
My first impression was that she wanted to come closer and extend, I thought at the time, a hand to shake or to say something to me. But I can't recollect anything beyond that.
Do you recall anything about the condition of her face when you first observed her? Was it flushed, pale, weathered? I know you've used the term weathered before. Is that your recollection?
It looked weathered, but there were many faces. But the brightness of the dress attracted my attention, and in the process of noticing the dress, I thought her face did appear to be somewhat weathered.
What was the color of her hair, if you recall, when you first observed her?
I don't recollect.
Did she at any time reach out with her hand?
As I indicated a moment ago, I noticed this lady in a brightly colored dress who wanted to apparently move closer toward me, and I assumed to shake hands. And so I hesitated instead of keeping moving as I normally do. And as I stopped, I saw a hand come through the crowd in the first row, and that was the only active gesture that I saw, but in the hand was a weapon.
Okay. Now, when the hand came in between the people, and it had the hand that had the weapon in it, did you notice the face of the person holding the weapon?
I did not.
Do you recall if only the hand and arm came out between the people, or did the actual person come between the people with the weapon?
As far as I can recollect, it was simply the hand with the weapon in it at height between my knee and my waist, approximately.
All right. So as I understand your testimony, the weapon would have been at about her waist level. Is that correct?
I couldn't judge where it would be as far as she was concerned, but I can say that I looked down, and my best recollection is that it was somewhere, the hand with the weapon was somewhere between my knee and my waistline.
And was the barrel of the weapon pointed down or towards your feet or towards your waist, or where exactly, if you recall, was the barrel of the weapon pointed?
I could not tell. The weapon was large. It covered all or most of her hand as far as I could see. And I only saw it instantaneously because almost automatically one of the Secret Service agents lunged, grabbed the hand and the weapon, and then I was pushed off by the other members of the Secret Service detail.
How close did the weapon come to you, to your person?
I would estimate 2 feet.
Okay. You indicate that you could see her hand on the weapon.
That is correct.
Could you tell if her finger was on the trigger?
I could not.
And I would assume also that you could not tell from your observations whether or not she pulled the trigger.
I could not.
Did you at any time see any motion that would indicate to you that she was cocking the gun?
I could not say I noticed any such action on her part.
Did you ever see her hand on the slide or on the top of the gun?
I did not, sir.
Did you ever notice her thumb on the hammer of the gun?
I did not.
How long was the weapon directed at you that you personally observed?
I simply saw the hand with a gun in it, and the gun covered most of the hand, as I indicated a few moments ago. Almost instantaneously, with my seeing the gun, the Secret Service agent grabbed her hand and the gun. I couldn't judge how long a time it might have been pointed at me.
All right. Did you ever hear the gun click?
I have no recollection of it clicking or not clicking.
Did you hear any noise from the gun at any time that you can recall?
Not that I can recall.
Were you able to tell the caliber of the weapon?
I could not, sir.
What was her position in relation to your position when she had the gun in her hand? As I understand, in order to clarify that, you were shaking hands with the people and you were turned to your left. Would that be correct or incorrect?
I was moving from my left to right from L Street to the Capitol. I was shaking hands and speaking to people as I was moving toward the Capitol. My best recollection is there was a series of rather prominent trees, and we were in the approximate area of one of those trees when I noticed this person in the second or third row of those individuals who were in the crowd. I would say that she was 3 to 4 feet from me when I first noticed her. She appeared to want to come forward. I had the impression she did come forward. I didn't see the precise movement. I stopped because I had the impression she wanted to speak to me or shake my hand. And as I moved to either shake hands or speak to her, I then noticed the gun. And as I indicated, it in her hand was approximately 2 feet from it.
Okay. Would the weapon have been facing you directly, or facing you from the side?
It would be facing toward me from her right and my left.
All right. Do you have any recollection of moving your hand towards her to deflect that object?
I have no recollection of any such movement.
Do you recall if at any time you touched the weapon? I would assume
I
the
have
answer.
no recollection at all, and if I have a recollection, it is that the Secret Service agent moved so rapidly, I had no opportunity to do so.
Okay. Let me indicate why I'm asking you that question. There is a witness by the name of Roy Miller, who my investigator has talked to. And I'm offering this to see if it refreshes your recollection. It might be incorrect, but in any event, his recollection is that you did move your hand towards Lynette Fromme, and then duck down, and then stand up, and then the Secret Service pushed you back down. Do you have any such recollection of those events occurring when I mentioned that to you?
As I said a moment ago, I stopped because I had the impression she wanted to either speak or shake hands with me. In the process, I may have moved forward, but I certainly have no recollection whatsoever of either touching her or the gun.
Did you at any time hear her say anything?
I did not.
Do you know who it was that grabbed a hold of her arm?
It was one of the Secret Service detail, Mr. Larry Boondor.
After you were pushed down and surrounded by the Secret Service men, then you were taken to another area towards the state capitol, is that correct?
That is correct.
What, if anything, did you observe as you looked back?
I really don't think I looked back on it in any deliberate way. I was being pushed and moved very rapidly by the Secret Service detail. I have no personal recollection of looking back to see what took place or what was going on.
Have you discussed the facts of this case with anyone that represented to you that they were an eyewitness? Or that he or she was an eyewitness?
I have not discussed this with any person who alleges that he or she was an eyewitness. I have discussed it with Mr. Buchan and with Mr. Keyes and with Mr. Thornburg.
No, I'm only interested in just anyone who claimed to be an eyewitness.
No, I have not.
That's all the questions I have. Thank you.
Is there any examination by the United States Attorney?
No, Your Honor.
Mr. Verga, have any questions been given to you by Lynette Fromme to be asked at this hearing which you have not posed to the President?
No, Your Honor, I can represent to the court that I reviewed all of my questions with Lynette Fromme before coming to Washington, and she did not give me any questions Any additional questions other than the ones that have been asked?
Very well, then that concludes the hearing. Thank you very much, Mr. President, and you're released from the subpoena.
Thank you very much, Your Honor.
There's some matters that I feel should be put on the record in order that it be complete, and further, in order that there be no question as to the use that will be made of the videotape. First of all, it's understood that apparently 3 tapes were made and are being, well, there were 3 videotapes that were made while the witness testified. 2 of them were on, as I understand it, a Sony videotape machine, and then a 3rd tape as a backup tape was being made by some Navy equipment. It's understood that one of the videotapes will be sealed and delivered to me to be taken by me back to Sacramento and to be used at the time of the trial in the event the defendant elects to use the tape as a part of his case in chief for the defendant. The 2nd tape will be retained by the President's counsel, who is present here in the room at this moment, along with the Assistant Attorney General. That will be retained here and will be disposed of by order of myself as the court at a later time as we see how things develop. The hope being that we will get the number 1 tape safely back to Sacramento for use at the court in Sacramento, but at least we will have that as a tape to be retained here, and it can be disposed of later by direction of the court. The 3rd tape, on the assumption that the 2 tapes that are being made on the Sony machine are all right, and that they correctly portray what has happened here today, then the 3rd tape will be destroyed immediately. The further order is that the tape that will be used in Sacramento, or at least that will be brought to the court in Sacramento, will be retained in the safe of the clerk of the court for the Eastern District of California, and will not be released to anyone except on order of the court. It is, of course, expected that the tape itself would not, in the event there is a conviction, and in the event the defendant takes an appeal, that the tape would not go up on appeal any more than would a picture of any witness who might testify in court, for the reason that we do not permit the taking of pictures of witnesses in the courtroom. And therefore the videotape would not go up to any higher court, and there would be no reason that I can see why the tape should leave the official record of the court, that is the trial court, and that finally, as I say, the tape will not in any way be revealed to any of the news media. The record would also reflect that Richard Fong, who is the official reporter for in the United States District Court for the Eastern District of California, has made a record of this proceeding, and it would be expected that that record would be transcribed eventually and can be used the same as any record made in open court could be used. Obviously, it will, if there is an appeal, it will go up, and that it's available to the public, because it could go into the file as a part of the daily transcript. And I might state that a daily transcript is being made in this case. Now, I don't think that there's anything else. Are there any statements that you wish to make into the record, Mr. Verga?
No, Your Honor.
Mr. Keyes, are there any statements that you want to make put into the record at this time?
No, Your Honor. One question.
Yes.
Concerning the audio portion of Mr. Fong's record here, what will be the disposition of that?
Well, the audio portion is no different than the audio portion of any witness's testimony. It's he's putting it on his dictaphone. A transcript can be made of that. Oh, your question is well taken. I understand. Okay. I don't believe, and I'll hear you out on this, Mr. Berg, if you have any objection, but I don't believe that the audio portion of this testimony should be revealed to anybody until you decide to call the president as your witness in your case in chief. I don't think that what the president has said here today as a witness in your case would be usable for any purpose until you reach that point during the trial when you decide that you want to use this testimony, and at that time it would be revealed. Now, in the meantime, I would think that a copy of it could be given to you and to the Attorney General if that's your desire, and also a copy could be given to Mr. Verga. But I would then make the order at this time, and I do so order, that the content of the videotape, a copy of the transcript will not be made public to anyone unless the defendant shall call the president as a witness in the trial. And in calling the president as a witness, he will then use the audio and the transcript too, I suppose, at that time in the trial. So do you have any objection to that, Mr. Verga?
No, Your Honor. As I understand, what will occur is that the videotape as well as the president's verbal testimony will be shown to the jury.
That's correct.
And
That depends on whether you call him as a witness.
That's
You may
true.
not want to use this. You may not want to use any portion of this.
that's correct. If I decide not to use it, no one will have access to it. That's my understanding.
And that's my order too, because I do not want any portion of this tape to be revealed to the public unless it is actually used in open court.
I would think one other order might be appropriate in lieu of the orders that you've made, and that would be that at the conclusion of the trial that you order the tapes that I have and that Mr. Keyes has turned back to you so that those can also be sealed.
Any objection?
No objection, Your Honor. That is a good order. I was also, though, inquiring about the aid that Mr. Fong has. He has a tape of the president's voice.
The same order that I have made in connection with the transcript applies to the tape that you are making. Let the record reflect that Mr. Fong normally uses a tape as a backup for him on his dictaphone. And as far as my order is concerned, this will apply to any tape that you make, Mr. Fong. This is to be kept in absolute security and is not to be revealed to anyone. So that will be my order, that the transcript, all of the transcripts shall be returned to the court. Now, Mr. Thornburg, are there any suggestions that you have with reference to the use of the tapes or the videotapes, the tapes that are now being made by Mr. Fong, or any transcript or any other portion of this proceeding that you'd like to express an opinion on or wish concerning?
Just two things, Your Honor. One is that it's our understanding that the two copies that will be disposed of today, or one given to you and one to Mr. Buchan, and the third copy, after the third copy has been erased, will be under seal, which will await further order of the court, either for use in the case of the copy delivered to you or for such other use as may be forthcoming with respect to any order requested of Your Honor with respect to the one here. But that's sealable.
It is so ordered.
The second thing is, I'm not clear, and Mr. Buchan raises the question, and I think it's a good one. We didn't understand that you were going to make available to counsel, either for the government or for the defendant, anything but the written transcript of the proceedings here today, that they would not receive any audio tape of any of the transcripts for their...
I thought I made that clear, but if I haven't made it clear, then that is my intention. There is no need for Mr. Verga to see the audio between now and the time of trial. You'll have a copy of the transcript. You've observed the president testify.
I agree with that. I'm a little confused now, so Your Honor. As I understand it, there's the videotape, and then Mr. Fong has a tape recording that's playing in court at the present time. And I understood that we were talking about that tape. In other words, he's going to prepare a transcript, and I will have a copy of the transcript.
That's correct.
But I also thought that Mr. Keyes directed a question to the tape that is immediately in front of Mr. Fong that he uses to supplement his transcript. What is going to happen to that? I understood you to say that I would have a copy of that. That's why I said that I would suggest you...
No, I didn't. If I said that, I didn't mean that. If I said that, I didn't mean it. I don't recall that I said it. My point is this. Let's get this straightened away. Mr. Fong, as soon as you have... I'm asking that you prepare your daily, as we call it, transcript on this matter immediately. As soon as you have completed that, then would it not be appropriate that you just simply destroy this tape? And I would assume that you as officers of the court would trust me that when I tell you that that tape has been destroyed, that it has in fact been destroyed. And therefore, the only record of these proceedings that will be made available to counsel will be a written transcript of what has occurred here today.
Okay. May I comment upon that, Your Honor?
Yes.
I'm not asking for a copy of Mr. Fong's tape. What I would like, and what I would move the court to do with it, is to seal it, not give a copy to me, and keep it in the court record. I'm not asking for a copy of it. I appreciate the fact that I am entitled to a copy of the transcript, and I'm not asking for a copy of the tape. But as long as that tape is here and available, I would ask, and being made, I would ask that you seal it and not destroy it until after the trial is over. At that time, I would...
We have the video.
You've got the video here. You have the video here.
With
Everything that's on this tape is on the video. And I think the sooner that that tape is disposed of, the better. And so,
I would assume that everything that is on that tape is on the video. And I'm certain that that is correct. I'm just trying to act out of an abundance of caution.
let me ask you this, Mr. Fong. What do you normally do with these tapes? After you have transcribed, what do you normally do with the tape? You destroy them. I see no reason why the court reporter in this case should act any differently than he does in any other trial that we have. And so I'm going to deny your request, and I think you have ample insurance with the videotape as soon as and furthermore, when we view and hear the videotape, I think that you will be then assured and that you'll have no problems. But at the moment, your request is denied.
One further question.
Yes.
With regard to the transcript, the actual transcript of the President's testimony, do I understand your order to be that at the conclusion of the trial, that transcript will have to be turned back in, the written transcript?
Oh, no. Well, the written, if the President does not testify in the trial, in other words, if you do not call the President as a witness in the trial, then I want your copy and Mr. Key's copy of the transcripts returned to me. If he does, in fact, testify in the trial, well, there's no problem. You're entitled to it, by all means.
That's
okay?
all. Yes, thank you.
All right. Any other questions?
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, then that concludes the hearing.
Thank you, Your Honor.